So now we're doing accordion booking, and it's just like it sounds. You take manageable size bites.
Yeah, normally about a foot to a foot and a half. So we shrunk it down here.
All right, just like it sounds.
Okay. And we'd give it some time to relax.
Okay.
Which is typically 5 to 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we were going around a window, do you have your light on this with you?
Do I? I certainly do. I'm still in the process of loading up my tools. Here we go.
So let's smooth this down. The line.
Is this a piece of it, or the whole thing?
Well, we're going to pretend that, you know, this went from the floor to the ceiling or whatever. Or went around the window is what we're pretending.
All right, that's happy and smooth.
Okay. So now, when we're going around, what we want to do is try and get one pattern on top of the other.
Oh.
It's going to be something like that. And we're going to need to have a level line on the bottom. So this is a good opportunity to use a torpedo level.
Uh-huh.
So we don't have room there to put in the 4-foot level. That should be level. And then let's peek. It's going to need to go up a little bit.
Uh-huh. So is this like a picture frame you're making?
Yeah. So, you know, like if they wanted the border to go around the window, I just didn't do it around the window because I don't want to eat up our valuable
I never
time.
even thought of it going around things. So you'll use this to retrim something.
You can do it that way, or you can make just like an artificial field and style situation on the wall.
Okay. Field and style, all right.
Right, so this is the field, this is the style.
Okay.
Remember I told you farmer's field stone wall?
Mm-hmm. You mean like below a wainscot, you'd use this if it was big or?
Yeah, you could.
Okay. Boy, tell me you're getting ready to hit a cut on that and
Yeah.
miter it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's what this is all about. Okay, so now lightly smooth that down.
All right.
You don't want to get a lot of paste pushing out.
So when you slide and you're getting
Okay, so you're
picking up
using
paste.
this the wrong way.
All right.
This is your beveled edge.
Oh.
Okay, so you want to let the beveled edge do the work.
And you don't have your fingers behind it bullying it.
No,
like
because I said lightly smooth it.
Oh, that was lightly. Should have seen if I was going to really. There wouldn't be an ounce of glue
Okay,
under it.
Mr. Strong Guy.
No, but there wouldn't have been an ounce of glue. Okay, so right here.
Yeah, and that's enough.
But that's disturbing.
Oh, there is an air bubble.
Okay. Or how about my soft smooth?
Okay, well, here we can just do that.
That's going to mess up our beautiful miter cut.
Shouldn't
No? Okay.
square.
Done. Don't overthink it. There we go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Fresh razor.
Well, we're not going to really. No, wait, this is not going to work at all. We still have tons of razor blades
Okay.
going on. I mean, in the real world, we might use a fresh razor, but we've got so many razor blades out right now, it's not funny. Okay, so this is not going to work. You see why?
Yeah, because this
Right.
this line has to be
Correct.
with that line.
So this whole thing needs to move up to about here.
Alrighty.
Needs to go to there.
So in this case, I wonder if when we might.
So now I'll take that blade.
You want a blade? Here, I'll give you one from the table.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And we want to check, it's gotta be square, so we know.
Oh, sure.
We know the vertical one is, because we did it to our line.
Okay.
Now we wanna make sure that this is. It's not at all.
I wouldn't put my, well, maybe the aluminum level I trust. I wouldn't put my square on it. I could get it dirty. My steel ones are all rusty.
I know, and you saw how mine was too. It's really important that every so often you clean them up.
Well, I like the aluminum ones because they're never going to do anything.
Yeah.
But they may rub that.
And they're light.
They
Well,
might
that's
rub
the
that
thing.
gray.
Exactly. Okay. So then you're simply going to take your long broad knife and you're going to go from corner to corner.
Okay.
Now, it's not going to be a perfect match by any means, because that's
You can only do one because
geometrically
wherever the left side falls, it's going to fall.
impossible. But see, that came out pretty darn good.
Okay. What about a little cheaty situation where we slide them a little more and then do another cut and then we can fix our whip afterwards, or no?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
you'd just be
Just go with that.
battling and battling.
Okay. You see the desire to give this guy a little scooch.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull up your sponge.
You know, we
That's nice though.
we
That's
could
nice.
possibly, we could try this again. We could move this up a little bit more. Let's see if we can do that.
This is good. I want things that don't go perfect.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I thought I filled the water bottle. Yeah, there we go. Well, it's not that it really didn't come out. It's just part of the process. We're
There.
working on it. There we go. Oh boy. Right on the money.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
There. Fixed it. And then now the only problem is that looks like that's going downhill quite drastically. That's like way off.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, that much really? That's all right, it's clean here.
Okay.
And you're not going to catch
So
that
there.
much by eye.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's good. And then I would just zip off that little
Okay.
distance.
I guess we'll find out if this is a wipeable paper.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a wipeable paper.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Beauty.
comprehendo.
Let's see. We're going.
Okay.
Border. Borders with borders. They're not just for ceilings. Okay, here we are with the hand screen material. What does the selvage tell us? Selvage tells us everything. It tells us the number of colors that are printed on it. Usually you'll have the manufacturer's name, Samba, probably
That's
the
the pattern name.
pattern. And printed exclusively for Heinz, ampersand, and Company, because he didn't have a buddy, it was just Company. Heinz and Company, copyright, okay. It also tells us our joins.
So what kind of pattern match do we have here?
Well, I would take a look and see if it's a straight match. If it's a straight match, I should have something that looks similar over there, but my join marks don't even look like they line up 100% perfect, but I guess they do. All right, no, this is a straight match then. What else does it tell us? It tells us where our trim line is, and in this case, it doesn't have a trim line. It has, oh, it does. Does it?
Yeah.
So they're giving us not a black in this instance because I guess there's no black in the printing of it.
Right.
So all they can do is give us something that we can determine that's not the pattern. So that T on top, and in this case, I would take the T almost completely off, just so you could put a hair in there and a hair in here.
Right, so you're calling that the T, right?
Yes, we
Yeah.
bring the straight edge
Yeah.
right to this,
Yeah.
so you can still see the pattern color, and you could put a hair in there. And then you trim it, and
Yeah.
hopefully that hair is still there, and
Yeah.
the hair is still there.
Right. Good. Okay. So now you're going to have the honor of practicing some hand trimming.
Nice.
So just to refresh,
The
We
table
do.
work is kind of what's gonna.
the what?
The table work is where I don't understand, because right now all I see is I have a big messy piece of paper and not in a long enough space to cut it on. So let's say,
Not a long enough space to cut it on.
well, in one like usable swat. Anyways, the table work is what I want to see how you're gonna manipulate.
Okay, so
the
what we're
paper.
going to do is we're going, this happens to be a double roll.
Okay.
So since this is hand printed material, how long is a double roll?
It could be up to 45 feet.
That
or
would be a triple
or
roll.
15. Oh, you're asking a double roll.
Mhm.
They're always going to be 15 feet long, so a double is 30.
Right.
But this is the only product that may start coming as 45 feet or even 60 feet as a quadruple. It only goes to a triple roll as the
Don't know
highest.
where 60 came from. Yeah.
Okay,
15, 30, 45.
that's it. Okay.
That's a triple roll.
Oh.
So if you needed 4 rolls of paper,
Mhm.
you would get a triple roll, 45 feet long,
Mm-hmm.
and a single, 15 feet long.
Okay.
That's how they would ship it to you.
Not two doubles.
Probably not.
Okay.
You never know.
Okay.
There's no, I never say always,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Because in the warehouse,
Well, it might be less.
they may just have 2 double rolls.
Of
And it's
them-
like,
of them
okay, here, Joe Schmo just wants 4 rolls, so here, there, that's how we're gonna get rid of
So
those 2 doubles that have been hanging around.
and do we call them die lots? Refresh me on what we call them.
Yeah, there is a die lot, but you're not going to know it.
Okay.
It doesn't say it on here. They typically print to order.
Mm-hmm.
So if Mrs. Goldsmith Decorator
Mm-hmm.
orders 16 rolls of paper for this living room that she's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, I want it in the colorways of such and such and such and such, you know, the blue and the green instead of the red and the purple.
Mm.
They are going to print 16 rolls of the blue and the green.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. They may print like 18 because they know that, you know, maybe she's going to come back and say, I need a little more, and it's going to be more of a hassle for them to try and print a double roll.
Mm-hmm.
So they got their guys running around the table with the silk screens. They may print a little more. But that's just gonna be an internal record on their part. It's not
Sure.
gonna say run number 1
Oh, okay.
printed on it anywhere. They're just gonna say Mrs. Goldsmith or the Goldsmith job.
Okay.
Okay?
That's how they keep their notes on that.
All right. So now we're gonna do our hand trimming. We are gonna look for trim marks, which we have here and here. I gotta have 2 trim marks
Oh, sure.
to get me going, and unfortunately, there wasn't one down there. So the way we get around that,
So I guess what I was wondering, are you gonna trim this whole roll?
yes,
Aha. Okay, that cleared that up. I thought we might cut our wall pieces and then
No.
start trimming.
that would be very difficult
I thought so.
because you see what's happening here.
Yeah.
I don't have a trim mark.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to take advantage of the whole roll because there's going to be trim marks for me.
So now we have plenty of room. This straight edge is shorter than our table.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So that is just inside the trim mark. And that is just inside the trim mark. And you remember I'm holding my hand like this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping this at a 90-degree angle with my thumb, pressing the blade in.
Mm-hmm.
These 2 fingers riding on top of the straight edge.
Okay.
And I trim about 6 inches past, and I got off to a really bad start here. See what happened?
No, I don't. Well, your blade was farther out than
Yeah.
the edge of the straight edge.
So I've got to go back and redo that while I still can.
Okay. That's all right, you got it. Came off over here.
Okay.
Yep.
And then typically I get rid of this.
Oh, sure.
I leave about that much.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just going to fight me and catch on something
Of course,
and cause a problem. So now what I've got to do is I've got to finish that end.
Okay.
And the way I'm going to do that, pull this back up on the table
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that my straight edge is all along my trimmed edge.
All right. So you could show up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm going to trim 2 or 3 rolls
Mm-hmm.
before lunch or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's not going to take me very long to trim 2 or 3 rolls.
Oh, okay.
It's going to take maybe half hour, 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is all
Cutting your seams.
right on the money.
Sure is.
It's a straight edge, it's straight, so it's just going to follow. So I'm going to come back here and finish this off. Okay,
Beauty.
so that's how that happened.
Okay.
So now, as I need to trim more, I'm going to let this hang off the end of the table.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to trim basically in the area between where my trestles are,
Mm-hmm.
because this is where the table is the strongest.
Sure, yeah. A lot of pressure there and you're wanting
Right.
to
It's gonna tip over or something.
Okay.
And I want to keep this fairly square on the table. So then I bring the straight edge up again. I look for a trim mark and put it just inside the trim mark.
Mm-hmm.
And I get this on my trimmed edge. Like that. Okay.
The example of that
So now this moved, and that's not uncommon. So now I go back and I check again.
Okay.
So that's right where I want it.
Mm-hmm.
Now is it where I want it here? Yes.
Okay.
So now I'm good to trim.
Okay. As long as you're hitting these trim indicators at the same spot each time, you're good.
Right, and it might, I just kind of got lucky here.
Mm-hmm.
There might not be one here. I might have already taken it off down here someplace.
Okay.
It's not always going to work out that way, is what I'm telling
Alright.
you. So I just have my trimmed edge from before
Yeah,
and my new trim mark to go by.
but the old jog would have been just as true, the piece that was sticking out for you to butt up against. That was
Yes.
fine. Okay.
That actually got bent under there somehow. Okay, so now we're gonna keep moving, and what's gonna happen, every time you do this, you take your straight edge off and put it back under the table. And move this down, and this is called festooning. It's gonna be like ribbon candy.
That's fine.
That's fine. That's
All
what
right,
we want to happen.
festooning.
Festooning.
Oh boy, that's very mystical.
Okay.
Tell someone you're gonna be spending the morning
So-
festooning the paper. I
So
can't be
now you need
disturbed.
your blade caddy hanging somewhere on your shirt or your pants pocket or
Do I?
whatever.
Okay. Pants pocket, let's try that. I'm not a shirt pocket kind of guy ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, it can be the pants pocket or it could be where the V is here. Whatever works, whatever feels comfortable.
This isn't, yeah. Put it on here like a microphone if I can. I'll get it, I'm just clumsy. Trying to be such a good wallpaper man. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so let me see
This
how
works
you-
pretty good actually.
Oh, it works wonderful.
That's fine.
So let's see how you do this.
Okay, boom, boom. Let's see if the straight edge fits on. Be careful not to scrape, scratch, or mar your paper. Okay, there's my trim line. Bing. There's me jogged into the corner, showing just a hair of pattern. And
Yeah, you want to be right.
do I want to touch your cut?
Right on the edge, yeah.
Okay, I'm touching that cut.
Yeah.
I didn't see how much of a hair you left, but I'm feeling it was just like that. Too big?
Yeah, maybe too big. Just want
Am I trying to touch the?
You don't
end
want
of
to
the
leave
line?
it on.
Don't want to leave it
Just
on.
want to take it off.
Just want to touch it.
Yeah.
Okay. There's my blade. You trust how sharp this is?
When you're trimming dry paper, they don't go dull as quickly as when you're trimming wet paper.
Okay, and the board seems like it's pretty friendly to it. Okay, I like how that feels. I know my straight edge isn't sliding.
Right, and that's the nice part about a brass bound straight edge.
Oh yeah, I love how this is just beautiful. All right, did you want to see that or should I continue?
I'll be right there.
Okay. See if my coffee's marked just wrong. What do you want?
Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't move this because you went off here.
No kidding. I wonder how or why.
So, so you're gonna go back to here now
Okay.
and trim it up to like here.
Okay.
It's just like,
Do you think the blade like grabbed its own they can get their own mind and wanna go that way, you gotta make sure that it's
That's why you got,
tilted towards
that's why you've got your thumb pushing it against
Okay,
the straight edge.
good, I'm glad I made a mistake on this.
And keep that hand, bring that down, but tight. There you go.
Get, so it starts to recut, okay, I'm recutting, I shaved it.
Good, I think you got it now.
Yeah, okay, good, I see what
Yeah,
you're doing.
see that, see that little,
I got it.
okay, and then let's cut that off.
All right, let the festooning begin. Come on, folks, festoon.
And it's just gonna automatically do it, it's pretty
Okay.
cool how that happens.
All right. You don't let the customer's dog come running in and smash through all of that?
Yeah, no, we don't want anybody in the room. Human or animal.
Festooning in progress. That's enough of the festoon jokes. Now this wants to roll back on me. Do you typically use something to keep it to behave?
Yes.
Or just your straight edge?
No, I can,
It's not gonna behave as I get to
where did
the
my behavior modifications go? Ah. This is where you hit them on me.
Oh, the clips.
So I think just using them as paperweights is gonna be enough.
Okay. And they have a rubber edge on them, so
Right.
they kind of grab anyhow.
And you also periodically, once a week or whatever, at the end of the day, you always want to wash these so you don't have any paste build up on here, because the paste will dry hard and it could scratch something, like you see that.
Oh, it is
Thing
crunchy
there.
and hard like
Yeah.
sandpaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I felt it on the wall, very rough.
Mm-hmm. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna wash this brush out before
Okay.
it gets hard.
Okay. So I'll continue with the roll?
Yes, go right to the end of it, and I should be back by that.
Okay. That's good. Okay, thumb goes against there, pushing it tightly, not sliding it. That's it. Too much. Okay. That's it, I'm perfect against the edge. getting the feel of the proper pressure at the blade.
Good.
Versus like this. I just need to be like closer and more in like this, and I can make that happen.
Yeah, and you wanna remember that you don't wanna press too hard
Mm-hmm.
so that you're, you know, cutting into the table really bad.
Uh-huh.
Because A, it's not gonna help the table, and B, it's gonna maybe cause you to.
Follow
Get
the
it.
table instead of your straight edge.
Right. Play more quickly. So just the right amount of pressure to cut through a layer of paper.
Mm-hmm. I'm really keeping that blade buttoned against the metal so it doesn't want to wave off of it. Oh. Okay. Right. My daylight's showing, just consistent white edge I can still see. Tiny one. So it's okay that I'm cutting and I don't have two trim indicators.
Right, as long as you have one down on this end toward me.
Okay, I have this one notch. Yeah, no, I have one.
Yeah.
It's kind of right in the middle of me.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the notch is that you can just put the straight edge tight up against it, and there you are.
Mm-hmm. Actually, because it was such a short. And I noticed that it does sometimes vary over there. So I got one trim here, and even though it was a little shortcut, I want to slide until I see another trim just to make sure everything's staying legit.
Whoa. Put that all back how you had it.
Okay. Here's one trim right here.
Yeah,
and
well, that's great, but you want to trim to like within 2 inches of the end of the straight edge.
Okay. Okay.
You got everything set up. I mean, you're just like
Okay.
making more work for yourself and wasting time if you don't do that.
All right.
Because you've got it all lined up nice and square.
Mm-hmm. So I can trust this is going to basically stay all right, even though I don't have two trim indicators.
Right.
Okay.
You know, you've got a straight edge, which I'm assuming is straight.
Mm-hmm. the end of the roll anyhow. Okay.
Yeah, but as we learned yesterday, sometimes you need it right down to the
Mhm.
last inch. What type of pattern would you call this?
I guess it's the damask because
Yep.
I guess they could do.
And this one is quite easy to see. I mean, I don't envision anybody hanging this one upside down,
Mm-hmm.
except that guy from the Bronx.
Oh, okay. Alrighty, so I'm assuming we're gonna let this roll up. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. No?
Keep it flat.
Okay.
Pull it right up here toward the end of the table, about maybe 6 inches from the center. Right there. Put your clamp on it so it doesn't slide around. And then take your straight edge and come over to this side of the table.
Mm-hmm.
And do the same thing in reverse. Remember what I said, you basically want to trim between the trestles, so take that paper a little farther down on the table.
Okay.
There you go, right about there. That's
All right. And this is not something that you'd say to yourself, okay, let's knock this out and start. You just cut this at your own calm, natural pace, right? Or do you put a hustle on it? No, just as fast as you can to be
I don't
accurate.
put a hustle on anything,
Okay, because
because haste makes waste.
okay, so just the speed that you need so that it comes out perfect.
Yes.
Okay. I don't
And
know
that's
if I,
one thing early on in my career, a decorator that I was working for explained to me, we do not rush things.
mhm,
And he meant that for the woman that was doing the sewing of the drapes, and the painters that were painting, and the wallpaper hangers that were wallpapering.
so, don't expect us to just run through here.
No,
Alright,
these are nice big jobs for people that have nice big checkbooks that want things done right.
mhm,
But that doesn't mean we're gonna take a 2-hour coffee break.
oh, work is work. I was just trying to get the sense if I'm like spending too much time on this or
No,
not.
I think you're
This
going,
seems normal?
I think you're going at the right pace.
Okay.
Now, the only other thing that you wanna keep in mind is that now that you've trimmed these edges, you don't want anything to happen to them. You don't wanna bang up against them or anything, because you've got a nice perfect edge now. You wanna keep it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're gonna have a nasty seam.
this is such a common practice, it's so crazy that I haven't seen an example of this anywhere for somebody saying, oh, you gotta cut your seams like this sometimes. It's like, I don't know why.
I guess you haven't seen any hand screens paper installed, you've just seen, machine printed paper.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's far more of than hand screens.
Yeah, like the woman advertising it on the next door app. By the way, it was $84 a roll. By the way, I have hand screened wallpaper for sale. Please contact me if you're interested.
Now, some of the hand screens, they are pre-trimming at the factory too. Don't ask me how they do it, I haven't seen it happen. But in an effort to make it more user-friendly, they're trimming the selvage off.
Mm-hmm.
Which in some ways is good, it's a time saver, but in other ways, I lose that protection of having a nice edge.
Yeah, the whole idea of the selvage is gone.
Right, and I lose the option of possibly double cutting it.
Mm-hmm.
See this, you see how far in the trim mark is? I mean, it's like an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch into the color.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to cut this at the edge of the color, not the trim mark,
Mm-hmm.
that would give me enough room to overlap and do a double cut. So that could be a possibility. Not with a pulp paper, you can't double cut pulp paper. But with something like this that seems to be a strippable paper,
Mm-hmm.
I could probably double cut this on the wall.
Okay. So let me just say that out loud one more time. With a pulp paper that's hand printed, you cannot double cut it. But with a apparently strippable paper that has a good body and you feel comfortable that you can double cut it, then you would leave, but still that trim tee would
Trim it to color,
trim it to color.
and then when you're installing it, overlap it so your trim marks are on top of each other,
Okay.
and just cut it off.
Okay.
Double cut it off.
Mm-hmm. Then you make sure that the trim line comes off while it's on the wall.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you get one shot at it.
You get one shot at this, but you get to manipulate it. All right, there's my trim. Yeah, this is working out nice. And it stays and lays flat, so that's fine too. Mm-hmm. All right, so remember how I said I like making mistakes here? I made one. I went too far out on the trestle. This has a whip to it, and now I have to fix the situation I created. Here I can make all the mistakes I want. All right, do you want to see where I put myself in this dilemma? So, it flexed,
Mm-hmm.
and I screwed it up, and now I'm doing, I'm trying to save it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're way off the trim mark.
So what I'm gonna do is reset everything, put my straight edge, and then come back on it
That's right.
to keep my sliver on there.
Yeah, so get that other trim mark down there.
Okay, good.
Actually, let's take this even farther down on the table.
Okay.
Okay, now let's bring the straight edge up to about here.
Okay.
And hopefully that finds a trim mark down there.
Oh, yeah. Trim, right here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good.
Stay good. And this is beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. So you see, this situation was starting way up here.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're gonna trim backwards.
Okay. And I think I had
I mean, you don't have to trim backwards, you
No,
can
no, I
do
get it.
it from here.
But I feel like I had also went a little beyond these trestle lines
Yeah.
other places, and I bet you I'm gonna find those whips when
Wow.
I hang this.
That could be.
Okay. And I'm trying to do it again. All right, you stay over the trestles. That's why you said stay
Mhm.
over the trestles. Oh, I really like the left cut. Who would have thought my left hand was so useful? I'm gonna keep going, clean that up.
Yeah, you're gonna come right up to about here. So you run out of,
Anything that'll come off.
and there you go.
Okay. That's how you save a screwed up cut.
Yep.
And you don't go beyond the trestle because now I have all those bananas where I went beyond the trestle.
Mhm.
If I hadn't have done that, I'd be saying, why is this doing that? Why? I cut it so beautifully. All right, we're gonna make sure that little goodie stays here for us later. Now the customer comes in. Oh, hi Jay, how's everything going? Oh, beautiful, no problem. Supposed to be like that. I'm gonna cut a few more when the day's over.
Look how nice that she over on the wall looks. Isn't that great over there?
Uh-huh. Who's that running away with your Amazon package?
Yeah, right.
I see lots of police around here, and it seems like very all safe neighborhoods. Like you have no problem parking your car and not and leaving the car, the keys in it, or just the doors unlocked, things
Well, I
like that.
leave the doors. I don't, like in a situation like this where I can't see my car, I lock it.
Yeah,
But, like in my own driveway at home,
in neighborhoods and things, it's fine to just walk away from your car.
generally.
Okay.
I mean, not in Rutland, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
No, Rutland has a really bad heroin problem.
Oh boy, no wonder the things are full. The hotels are full.
Yep, when COVID hit, they turned all the hotels into basically shelters for homeless people, and homeless people are all drug addicts.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're homeless.
Unlikely you're gonna cure them, you might as well just medicate them. How much do you want? Okay, don't steal anything else. Thank you.
No, it's not gonna work, unfortunately. Part of the whole deal is the thrill of stealing and getting away with it.
Mm.
And it becomes generational. I mean, they're having kids when they're 14 and 15 and 16 years old. So instead of, you know, a 20 to 30 year generation, now we have like a 15, we cut the time in half.
Yeah.
And, you know, they learn what they live. Oh, daddy steals, mommy steals, I steal. That's what we're doing. So Mark, being an adult, we know how to steal.
Oh, remember how I mentioned that you could teach this without even communicating in any language? You'd have to communicate at one point to say, watch everything I do, take whatever notes that you need, but this is all I'm giving you is everything that I'm doing. You stand and look at them. Basically, people teach karate to different languages, and it's explained to them once in their language like that, and that's it. Everything else is said in Japanese, so you don't even need to say it. You can just say it in wallpaper language with your hands.
And then when I take my stick out of that pocket on the side of my pants.
Oh yeah, then they remember exactly. They'll fix the straight edge, they won't go past the trestles, all the good stuff happens.
Yeah.
All the good stuff happens. Now chefs have a different approach, because I cooked for 11 years training to be a chef. They just scream and belittle, and the bad side on that is now you freeze someone up so they can't be creative, try to do their best work. All they're doing is just enough work so as not to get in trouble or yelled at, and that's not a good thing either. You gotta be, I mean, as a boss, I know, I bring them over and I say, I know you could have done better on this. Look, take a look. Then, just please do it like this. I know, because if you scream and belittle, you know, if you have a timid guy, he'll get just scared and freeze up around you. Now you can't even tell him to do anything because he's just scared. And the arrogant guy, well, he's just going to hate you and be nasty and backstab you if you can.
Yeah, chefs can have some terrible tempers.
Yeah. Axe a big shoulder. Or they do fun things like chef did to me at Gambelli's. Threw it in the garbage, said, make it again, that's coming out of your check. And he did, he charged me the entree price for what he didn't like. The plate was just dirty, could have been wiped. He threw it in the trash and said, that's coming. But he'd seen it a number of times and told me a number of times.
Oh, yeah, so it was enough of that. Yeah, because I can remember when we had the restaurant, we would take a little towel and
Oh yeah.
clean up anything that might have dripped when the presentation was being put together.
Years later, I forget what that new black market day was, like 2008 or 6 or whenever it was. Well, I couldn't give away a job, so I went back to the restaurant business to see what was going on. And I saw what was going on. Guys would finish like a landscaping day and then come in and be the dessert guy. And this one fellow, I was there, I was expediting the meals because I'm able to speak enough Spanish to get that done. I'm looking at the tickets and calling for the plates, and the servers are taking them. I look over at the guy with the desserts, and he's wiping the plates. They look beautiful. He's got the same rag that he's dropping, wiping sweat, just everything, but the plate is clean. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
That's gross.
And I saw him walking up the block with his book bag. He goes, oh, I do landscaping. You know, they just hired him because, hey, do this. Here's how the mud pie is made. You put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, you put a scoop of ice cream next to it, pour the chocolate sauce on it, and you wipe the plate. It goes out clean. Doesn't matter what you wipe it with, but it has to go out clean.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's the one that sent the French toast back because it wasn't warm enough, and the chef takes it and goes like
Oh
this.
no. How's that? Little extra flavor.
You know, it smells like tomato soup.
Oh boy. Oh, and there's an Irish bar, so they sold tons of chicken wings. And you know, it's much easier than going to the fridge every time for the chicken wings or reach for them wherever they are. So you just have a bus tray mounded with chicken wings around your feet.
Around your
Warm.
feet?
Yeah, it's right there next to the fire. So if you need some,
Um,
you grab a handful of chicken wings, you throw it in there. They started frozen in the morning, and then by the end of the day, they're all just lukewarm, sitting there waiting for the next beer swizzler to order it.
yeah, I know. That goes on in kitchens. We had an inn for a while.
That's when chefs had their right to go crazy. Okay, so I only have one register line. It's the end of my roll. So I be lazy and just trust that little bit, and it looks pretty legit.
And you can double check it by measuring from some point of pattern. See, this is bogus out here. We don't want to trust that.
Yeah.
But you could say Okay, the tip of the tulip
Mm-hmm.
to the tip of the tulip. As long as that measurement is the same, you know you're square.
Oh, okay. I like that method. Let me take one more. Okay, there's that thing.
Yeah, you can pick any.
It looks okay on that. It looks
Any
okay on
design you want.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can just eyeball it like that too.
Okay, so things are behaving, and then this looks like the right amount of reveal also.
Mhm.
Actually, I gotta tweak it a little. That's it. Hopefully this falls on the floor anyhow. So I would cut over the trestles. See what other mistakes I can make while I'm here. I'm gonna make them all. Make every single mistake right here. How about mistake number 2? Don't stop pressing on your straight edge. You're being lazy. Okay, finally that's cut.
Okay, so now take your razor blade and cut off a piece.
Let me stop this because this is.
So that we don't confuse the middle of the sheet with the edge of the sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're gonna split the sheet.
Now I just make a
Yeah.
curving cut like that.
Yep. Okay. Now we're gonna slide this over and see what kind of a match we have. See what kind of a match as far as, you know, our trimming went.
So this is what the pattern looks like, and here it comes back again. I think we have a long slide to go.
It's quite good.
Oh, and by cutting it like that, it must fit on the other side because it's a straight match.
Yeah.
It must fit.
Mhm.
Ah,
Okay.
this is a must fit.
Yep. So that's how it's gonna look.
Get out of here.
And
How's
you know,
that gonna fly? That's definitely not this. That's way jacked
No.
up. Okay.
And don't confuse yourself by looking at stuff that's inside the sheet. We're only concerned about what's happening at the edge. And these line up pretty good.
That's pretty good.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 1/8 of an inch tolerance is fine. That's the industry standard. So, you know, I mean, if you stand over there, like behind your camera, and you look at this, looks like it matches, right?
Yes.
So, that's good.
But you agree that's not a recreation of this, like it's precisely
It
what
doesn't,
you want.
it doesn't,
It's not going to be.
oh, you mean like you're not seeing this?
This is not as beautifully perfect as it is over there. Actually, these ones are doing great. What's going on up here?
Yeah, no, that's how it is.
Okay. See, look, this dude's missing the other half of his bell.
Well, I can see what you're saying, but not really. I mean, that's how that is. I mean, you could say, well, you know, that could have come off, but
It looked like it when we first did these. I said-
that's how these are. And I mean, and if somebody's
When I looked at them before, I
did
said,
we?
that doesn't
Oh
look like,
shit!
no, it looked
Okay,
like that one was
yes.
1 or 2 inches up.
Yeah, you're right. Look at that. That's much better. There we are.
Because I was gonna have a lot of explaining to do when
Yeah.
somebody walked in the room. We'll
Ain't
see.
got time for this.
We'll see. Got a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, there you
There we go.
There.
Oh boy, that second ago was.
Very nice. So, how fluent are you in Spanish? Can you translate something?
Sure, what would you like?
So, if I say perfection is the enemy of the good,
Oh, no. Oh. Muerto is evil. perfection, perfección. Tu necesito perfección solamente. So you say you need perfect is, I don't know what you mean by perfect in English, but I can't translate that. But if you hit it on your phone, you can just say it in there.
Perfection.
And it comes right out the end.
Okay.
Okay, let's see this now. And you know what? Those join lines were not directly across from each other.
Yeah.
They were 1 inch up for some reason. It was a 1 inch drop.
Wow.
No? Okay.
No such thing.
Okay. But that looks beautiful.
Yes. Okay.
Whew.
So now
My back knows about that too. My back's not too happy about that type of cutting.
this is now getting ready for another little torture exercise, and I'm going to make you endure.
Good. I messed it
Your
up.
blade, please.
Hope I messed it up.
Okay, I'll give this a minute to relax.
Mm-hmm.
Know where you're going with it.
Couldn't tell you.
You're going to the obstacle course with it. Let's see how this kind of material trims.
Okay.
Because this is a little bit thicker than that strippable paper that we hung yesterday. I mean, you can tell by the weight of it.
Okay.
And that's just a small piece. It's not even a full width. So you're gonna,
Back to the obstacle
I
course.
don't care if it's plumb or not. It's probably not wide enough to go to the line. The idea is just to get the idea of what it takes to trim something like that.
I was thinking for a moment. I was thinking for a moment if this helps to make these snips on the paper to there. I mean, I could experiment at home. I know you showed me with the blade, but I was just wondering.
You could try. To me, it's just one more thing to carry around.
Okay.
And I know they're not as sharp as razor blades.
Should I book this longer?
I think it's enough by now.
Let me let it hang out for a second. I'll get a wet towel with lace. I don't tie flies, but I do some fly fishing and stuff, and I have some really fine scissors, and they are my friends a lot.
So, gee, I wish I had known that. Oh, it's maybe not too late. Down in Manchester, which is like a half hour south of here,
Yeah.
is Orvis.
The Orvis.
The Orvis.
Oh, I go to a lot of Orvis, but that's the Orvis.
And that's where they have the whole factory. A lot of people from this area work there.
Nice.
Tying flies and, you know, they do that thing on the rods with all the colorful strings and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's just practice good hand palm technique
Now,
again.
tell me something before you go to the wall with that. Look at your pattern.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I see?
Do you see what I see? The pattern's upside down. Okay. Just for the sake of it not being the most tedious thing in the world. That gives us a nice grip on all of that. Boom. All right. Might as well use my loop because I got the pants.
Always nice knowing where things are.
Yep. All right. Smoothie, where are you? Okay, my arm with a very dull blade.
Yeah, I think that blade is definitely ready to be retired.
All right, an outside corner exercise. That's fine.
Wide strip, wide strip, wide strip, skinny strip.
So now we're engineering the grass cloth walls, okay? And the seams are noticeable, so they have to look balanced.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have to have equal width panels on the wall.
Okay.
Okay. So to do that, we take the width of the wall in inches. And divide by 36.
36 is our paper width.
Yeah. That's going to give us the number of panels.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Now the next thing is the width of the wall in inches. Divided by the number of panels equals width of panel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty simple. So let's say that the wall is 20 feet. So we have to convert that to inches.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 times 12 20 times 12 equals 40. That's not right. What did that come out wrong? 20 times 12 equals 240 inches.
Okay.
We know that the grass cloth is 36 inches wide.
Okay.
So 240 divided by 36 equals 6.6 blah, blah, blah.
Panels.
Right. No. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Six and like
6 panels. So I have to round that up
Give us 7
to
panels.
7 panels.
All right.
So 240 divided by 7 equals 34.2. So instead of being 36 inches wide, we're going to cut it down to 34.2. So like 34 1/4, something like that.
Oh, we're going to cut our whole roll. We're going to trim our roll.
Well, we're going to trim it a sheet at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're going to trim it.
All right.
So that we have a certain size panel.
So we're going to trim our panels to size. Okay.
And that's your estimating formula for that.
That's the estimating formula for that. And is
it a 2-part thing? First, you have to figure out how much material you need for the room.
Yeah.
Then when you get that, the day of the job, you do some more estimating, which tells you what the panel width for each wall is going to be.
All right, but we're still covered from the initial numbers and the ordering specification.
Because as you see, we're only cutting off 2 inches of.
Okay.
We're not cutting off a foot or something.
Oh, okay. I thought we're going to just leave a filler of equal distance on each end of the room. So you cut these panels so they're all, it's almost like you're doing like a wainscot, how that's always like sequential in a dining room. You divide that and then you say, okay, I want to have 4 squares and they're all going to fit nicely. So we treat those as their own panels and they all have to be equal on every wall?
Yes.
Or the focal wall?
Each wall will be different. If it's a rectangular room, that wall and that wall will be the same, and that wall and that wall will be the same. So now, if you turn back a few pages, the pattern number is all going to be the same on these. Okay, 107. But you're going to see some other numbers on here. The lot numbers are all the same. You're going to see these other little numbers. These need to be put in sequential order. So there's 7, there's 9, there's 12, there's 14. They don't necessarily go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They could skip around. So you put them in order. So this is how we shade grass cloth. So 7 might be a different color slightly than 24. Might be lighter, might be darker. So if I was to just hang around the room, I would wind up with a 7 next to a 24. And that might really show up. It's like, oh, light against dark. So here's what I do. I know that I'm going to get 3 strips out of each double roll bolt. Okay? So on your paper here, we're going to shade it. So we have 3 number 1 pieces, or in this case it would be number 7 pieces. So we're going to go 2 on this wall, a 1 and a 1, and 1 on this wall.
Okay. 1. I'm going to write shading with an arrow. Okay, so 2 of these panels are going to have 1s, and the other corner is going to have a 1.
Right. Now we're going to jog it just the opposite. We're going to have a 2 and a 2 and a 2 over here.
Okay. 1, 1. I'm going to do these in pen so I know it's for the shading. Then you want it to go 2 up. Okay.
Yeah,
2 and 2 and 2. Okay.
Yeah. So next to that one that you just wrote, we're going to go 3, 3.
3 and 3 into the doorway.
Put a 3 up here in the corner.
Top corner.
And then we're going to go 4 and 4. and a 4 down in this corner.
Okay.
And then a 5 and a 5 and a 5 over here.
And a 5, okay.
And a 6 and a 6 and a 6 over here. Got it?
Yes.
And then a 7 and a 7 and a 7 over here.
7 and 7 and a 7 over where? Under your finger right there? Yep.
Yeah.
7. Okay.
And an 8 and an 8 and an 8 over here.
8, 8, 8. Okay.
And then you're going to have 2 9s.
And we're going to have a 9 here. And where's the other opening?
Or do I only need 1 9?
I think you
I
only have one.
need 1 9. Yeah.
Okay. So there's. Okay.
So now I have an 8 coming up against a 9 instead of an 8 coming up against, or a 9 coming up against a 1.
Okay. 9 times 3 is, we had 27 strips. If there was a 9, I'm guessing there's probably, okay. But anyways.
Okay.
And that happens in every room
Yeah.
with grass cloth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Grass cloth estimating.
So grass cloth is 36 inches wide, which is 3 feet. So
Mhm.
that's convenient for us. So if we take 20 and we divide it by 3, 3 goes into 20 how many times?
6 times 3 is 18.
Okay, so it's going to be 6 and a fractional part.
Yes.
So 6 point something. So we're going to have to round it up. Equals the number of strips that can be cut from double wall. So we're going to need 7 strips. Okay, so that's the first step. Now we need to know the ceiling height. So if our standard ceiling height is 8 feet, grass cloth comes in bolts, and that would be back in your estimating part where I gave you the length of the bolts.
Okay.
So if it's 3 feet wide, the bolt is 24 feet long.
Okay.
Okay, so 8, 16, 24. So you're just gonna get
3 8-footers.
3 strips. Okay, so 3 strips per bolt. So now you take the number of strips needed divided by the number of strips per roll, and that tells you the number of double rolls that you need. So number of strips, 7 strips, times, am I saying this right? The number of strips needed divided by the number of strips per double roll. 7 strips divided by 3 strips per roll. 3 goes into 7, 2 point something times.
Okay.
So that means that you are going to need 3, I have to round this up, double rolls, which equals 6 rolls.
So that's giving you a double